Welcome back to our channel, Soap Fans. Today is a fantastic day to dive deep into the glamorous, cutthroat world of Los Angeles fashion. Grab your favorite beverage and settle in as we unpack the latest explosive developments and emotional shockwaves hitting our favorite families. Let us jump right into the drama. The gilded halls of Forrester Creations are about to echo with the sound of shattering alliances and catastrophic betrayals as the Tuesday, May 26th, 2026, episode sets the stage for an unprecedented corporate war. For weeks, the tension within the executive suites has been boiling over, driven by a bitter generational and familial divide. At the epicenter of this impending explosion is Brooke Logan Forrester, a matriarch who has spent every waking moment fiercely advocating for her daughter's legacy. Brooke has waged a relentless, exhausting crusade to force Ridge Forrester and Steffy Forrester Finnegan to prioritize the hope for the future line. She has utilized every ounce of her influence, her history, and her emotional leverage to protect her daughter from what she perceives as Steffy's tyrannical leadership. Brooke's maternal desperation has seemingly yielded a monumental victory. After enduring endless corporate stonewalling and condescending dismissals, Steffy has finally caved under the immense pressure. In a moment that Brooke interprets as a massive triumph, Steffy has agreed to provide a concrete, specific timeline for the relaunch of Hope's fashion line next week. For Brooke, this concession is everything she has been fighting for. It represents the salvation of her daughter's career and a restoration of the Logan influence within the hallowed walls of Forrester Creations. Brooke's heart swells with a triumphant, protective joy, firmly believing that she has single-handedly rescued Hope from the brink of professional obscurity. She envisions a future where Hope is once again the shining star of the company, completely oblivious to the dark reality unfolding behind her back. However, the reality of Hope Logan Spencer's situation is a stark, chilling contrast to her mother's jubilant expectations. While Brooke is busy celebrating a hard-won victory in the executive office, Hope has already crossed a line from which there is no return. The years of marginalization, the constant disrespect, and the agonizing wait for Steffy's approval have fundamentally altered Hope's psychology. She is no longer the patient, understanding daughter willing to wait for scraps from the Forrester table. Hope has reached her absolute breaking point, consumed by a cold, vindictive determination to seize control of her own destiny, even if it means burning her family's legacy to the ground. The ink is already drying on a contract that will shift the tectonic plates of the Los Angeles fashion industry. In a move of breathtaking betrayal, Hope has officially signed a lucrative agreement to join the rival Logan brand, bringing the talented designer Deke Sharp along with her. This is not merely a career change, it is a declaration of war. By aligning herself with Katie Logan Spencer and Bill Spencer, Hope is actively participating in a hostile corporate takeover designed to crush Forrester Creations. She has listened to the persuasive, intoxicating arguments of her husband, Liam Spencer, who has relentlessly pushed her to embrace her worth and leave Steffy's toxic shadow behind. Donna Logan Forrester stands as a tragic, terrified witness to this cataclysmic defection. She has desperately begged and pleaded with Hope to reconsider, recognizing that this move will permanently fracture the Logan family and ignite a war that will consume them all. But Donna's tearful warnings have fallen on deaf ears. Hope, exhibiting a chilling and sinister demeanor, has ignored the pleas of her aunt, driven by a deep sense of entitlement and a burning desire to punish Steffy for her arrogance. Hope's decision is final, but the execution of her departure is tied up in a labyrinth of corporate espionage and deceit. Bill Spencer, the ruthless architect of this corporate warfare, has laid down a strict, non-negotiable mandate: absolute secrecy. Bill, Katie, and Liam understand that the element of surprise is their greatest weapon against Forrester Creations. They demand that Hope keep her defection entirely under wraps until the strategic moment is right to unleash the public relations nightmare. This gag order places Hope in an agonizing, suffocating paradox. She possesses the power and the freedom she has always craved, but she is forced to wear a mask of compliance while walking the halls of the company she is actively plotting to destroy. This mandate of silence creates an unbearable psychological burden for Hope, especially when Brooke excitedly delivers the news of Steffy's concession. When Brooke approaches her daughter, eyes shining with the thrill of victory, expecting Hope to be overjoyed by the promise of a relaunched timeline, Hope is forced to swallow the truth. She cannot share her mother's excitement, nor can she reveal that Brooke's tireless efforts were entirely in vain. Hope must look her mother in the eye and lie, knowing that she has already signed her professional life away to the enemy. Furthermore, Hope must eventually face Steffy and Ridge to reject their timeline, but she cannot legally or strategically reveal that she is jumping ship to Logan. She will have to invent a vague excuse about receiving another offer, carefully guarding the explosive truth that she is joining forces with Bill and Katie. Meanwhile, across town, the neon lights of the newly reopened Bikini Bar pulse with vibrant energy, providing a stark contrast to the sterile, high-stakes tension of the Forrester offices. Deacon Sharp's grand reopening is a massive success, with business booming and the atmosphere thick with celebration. Yet, even in this lively environment, darker forces are quietly at play. Lurking in the background of the Los Angeles canvas is Sheila Carter Sharp, maintaining a terrifying silence while meticulously plotting her next move. Sheila is secretly scheming with a mysterious roommate, weaving a new web of manipulation that threatens to disrupt the fragile peace of those around her. Her unseen machinations add a layer of creeping dread to the unfolding drama, proving that the past is never truly buried in this town. In the center of the Bikini Bar's vibrant chaos, Will Spencer is laying his heart entirely on the line. He has sought out Electra Forrester, utilizing the festive atmosphere to make a desperate, impassioned plea for reconciliation. Will is acutely aware of the mistakes he has made and the pain he has caused, and he is pouring every ounce of his remorse into convincing Electra to give their love a second chance. His eyes are filled with a raw, vulnerable desperation as he begs her to remember the profound connection they once shared, promising that he will spend the rest of his life making amends for his past transgressions. Electra Forrester is paralyzed by a profound internal conflict. As she listens to Will's heartfelt apologies, she is torn between the deep, enduring love she still harbors for him and the visceral pain of his past actions. She knows that Will is genuinely sorry, and a significant part of her soul yearns to fall back into his arms. However, the trauma of their separation has left deep scars, and she is terrified of opening herself up to that level of vulnerability again. Electra's heart is a battlefield, caught between the comforting familiarity of Will's embrace and the painful memory of the tears she has shed over him. Complicating Electra's emotional turmoil is the sudden, intoxicating presence of R.J. Forrester in her life. A budding romance has begun to blossom between Electra and R.J., offering her a glimpse of a different future, one untainted by the heavy baggage she shares with Will. R.J. has positioned himself as her protector, offering a safe, stable alternative to the emotional roller coaster of her past relationship. This new dynamic forces Electra to weigh the passionate, turbulent history she has with Will against the gentle, promising potential of a life with R.J., leaving her standing at a critical crossroads with no clear path forward. The fragile, intimate bubble surrounding Will and Electra is violently punctured by the arrival of R.J. Forrester. Consumed by a toxic, possessive jealousy, R.J. cannot bear the sight of Will attempting to win Electra back. The simmering rivalry between the two young men instantly boils over into a massive, no-holds-barred confrontation right in the middle of the crowded bar. The air crackles with hostility as they exchange heated words, their mutual disdain for one another on full display. R.J., fueled by a sense of Forrester entitlement and a desperate need to assert his dominance, aggressively challenges Will's right to even speak to Electra. Pushed to his absolute breaking point by R.J.'s arrogant posturing, Well, Spencer decides to play dirty. Abandoning any pretense of civility, Will taps into the ruthless Spencer DNA inherited from his father and delivers a calculated, venomous low blow. He strikes directly at the core of RJ's deepest insecurities, hurling a cruel insult that brutally highlights RJ's reliance on nepotism. Will coldly reminds RJ that his entire career and status are unearned, handed to him on a silver platter simply because of his last name, while true talent and grit are entirely foreign concept to the so-called golden boy. This insult lands with the devastating force of a physical blow, completely shattering RJ's fragile ego. For a young man who desperately craves validation for his own merits, Will's words are a catastrophic narcissistic injury. The humiliation is absolute, burning through RJ's veins and replacing his jealousy with a blind, vindictive rage. Unable to formulate a comeback that could possibly repair his shattered pride, RJ realizes that a verbal sparring match is no longer sufficient. He needs to completely destroy Will Spencer's life, starting with his career. Blinded by this furious need for retaliation, RJ storms out of the bikini bar, his mind racing with dark, vengeful plans. He is determined to leverage his status as the son of Ridge and Brooke to exact his revenge. RJ intends to march directly into the executive suite at Forrester Creations and issue an ultimatum to his father and Steffy. Well, Spencer must be fired immediately. He plans to use every ounce of his familial privilege to force their hand, demanding that Will be stripped of his position and humiliated on a corporate level. However, if Ridge and Steffy refuse to indulge RJ's petty demands, the true danger lies in how far RJ is willing to go. Will RJ cross a moral event horizon to destroy his rival? The dark wild card in this scenario is the information surrounding Remy Price. RJ is aware of the terrifying threat Remy poses, and he knows the explosive secret that Melissa Dillon is Remy's cousin. If RJ is denied his immediate revenge by his parents, he may very well weaponize this dangerous information, using the looming threat of Remy Price to manipulate the situation, blackmail Dillon, and orchestrate Will's ultimate downfall. Regardless of the collateral damage it causes to Elektra or the company, the stage is set for a week of unparalleled destruction, and no